We'll do it live! Fuck it!
I'm Liz.
This is Surly Amy from Skepchick.org.
I'm Keith from Sydney, Australia.
Hello, I'm Daryl Ray, author of Sex and God and The God Virus.
This is Rebecca Watson of Skepchick.org.
I'm Vivian Wheeler from Planned Parenthood. I am Devin Napoli from Planned Parenthood.
I am Richard Carrier.
I am Monette Richards from Secular Woman.
I am Stephen Olson from Carl Sagan Dance Party.
I'm JT Eberhard, and I'm a he-thinker who loves the she-thinkers.
I'm Debbie Goddard. I'm from the Center for Inquiry and African Americans for Humanism, and I'm a human thinker.
I'm a Faisal, and I'm a he-thinker, she-thinker, they-thinker, it-thinker.
Hello, everybody. This is David Fitzgerald, and oh yes, I am a she-thinker.
Hello, and welcome to Secular She-Thinkers, where secular girls geek out and justifiably rage. I'm your host, Dory Mooneyham. Still by myself in Thailand for 2 more weeks. So, yeah, what's up? This is week 2 of my SRS Journal. This is my very first post-op post. So, woo! Exciting stuff. And just for shits and giggles, because Dirty Nerdy and I have been chatting about trolls, I'm also going to bring you a dramatic reading of some trolls, and I will also answer some frequently asked questions that appeared on my Ask FM, because I imagine they're pretty common questions that a lot of people have. So yeah. Alright, so let's see what to catch up on. Well, the last time I talked to you guys was the day before I went in for surgery. So yeah, let's get caught up on this. So preparing for surgery the day of was pretty nerve-wracking. Basically, I cleaned up my hotel room as best I could, got food prepared so that I'd have things to eat when I got back and I was too weak to walk. Tried to get everything set up as best I could, packed what few things needed to go with me to the hospital, and then just nervously sat around chatting on Facebook and trying to not focus on how nervous I was. The last hour and a half or so leading up to it, I decided to watch Frozen, and that was pretty awesome. So that was a good way to calm me down. I just belted Let It Go at the top of my lungs in my hotel room, and then I was like, alright, let's do this. I'm ready. I've had my cathartic moment. When I got to the surgery center, I was actually a lot more calm once I got there than I was just sitting at my hotel room, because at least I was, doing stuff and getting ready and interacting with people and whatnot. So, when I got there, they took me into a dressing room and I had to strip and put on a hospital gown and pack up my stuff. And then they led me into, I guess it's like the pre-surgery, post-surgery room. It's basically the patient's room that's connected to the OR. So I was there a couple hours before surgery because my nurses needed to give me my final checkup, and embarrassingly enough, they had to shave my surgery site, which was a little dysphoric, but I was so over it by that point. I certainly didn't fully appreciate just how many compromising positions you have to be in for surgery and post-surgery. At this point, I've been spread eagle naked in front of like 6 people, so I'm kind of beyond embarrassment at this point. It's one of those things that it's embarrassing looking back on it, but you just kind of trying to get shit done, so you don't really pay attention to it. But so yeah. And then, my nurses talked me through what my recovery process was going to be while I was, not drug-addled and whatnot. So they gave me a heads up on what the next week was going to be like and, what I should experience when I wake up from surgery and things like that. So I appreciated that. They got me prepared. And then my anesthesiologist was actually like half an hour or an hour late. So that was a little stressful, but my surgeon, Dr. Chetowitz, specifically schedules the surgeries for the afternoon because he basically sleeps all day the day before, and he sleeps in, and so that way he's completely rested in order, to prepare for the surgery. So I didn't really mind that. I mean, anesthesiologist being late, I'm sure that's also a complicated job, but it's my surgeon I'm more worried about being fully rested and prepared. So, believe it or not, the last hour leading up to my surgery, maybe it's because I didn't get much sleep leading up to it, for the few days leading up to surgery, or maybe it was just because I was so nervous my body just shut down, but I actually fell asleep and took a nap before my surgery happened, which surprises me looking back on it. They woke me up, when the OR was ready, and so they basically the back wall of my room that I was sleeping in slides away, and it opens up into the OR. So they slid the back wall back. They had me walk to the bed because I might as well get as much walking in as I can, right? And then I was surprised how quickly the anesthesia took hold. I lied down on the bed, and the nurses started, strapping my arms down on the little armrests of the surgery table. And I talked to the anesthesiologist, briefly, hi, my name is Dr. So-and-so, I'm your anesthesiologist. You're going to feel some pain on your hand. And then he gave me 2 injections on my hand and set up an IV feed on my left hand. And then the next thing I knew, he said, I'm going to need you to breathe into this oxygen mask and count to 10. And I didn't even count to 10. I remember turning and seeing the oxygen mask coming toward me, and then next thing I knew, I woke up from surgery. It was boom, instant. I had no idea how much time had passed. My surgery actually took a little longer than I expected that it would. I believe my surgery started at 3:30 or 4, and I woke up from surgery 1:30 in the morning, I want to say. So, it was very disorienting waking up from surgery. I was given, in addition to the anesthesia and other stuff, I was given an epidural, and so I couldn't move my legs at all. Hard, So when I woke up, I'm, kind of dizzy and disoriented, and Dr. Chetowitz says to me, Dory, can you take a deep breath, which he had already told me was what I was going to have to do when I woke up from surgery. So I took a deep breath. He said, can you tell me your name? And I said, I'm Dory Mooneyham. And he said, okay, good. And then the next thing I knew, they had lifted me from the OR bed into my hospital bed. And that was so surprising. I mean, they told me, they're like, we're going to move you to your bed. Are you ready? And I said, okay. But, with the anesthesia and everything, I was so disoriented. It was just flying, basically. I'm sure I was high as a kite when I woke up. So they lifted me up and moved me into the bed, and I had so many tubes and wires and things attached to me. I mean, I couldn't move anyway because of the epidural, so it wasn't that big a deal. But let me try to remember all of it. I had like a heartbeat monitor was clipped onto my right finger. I had my IV drip hooked up to my left hand. I had two like those heart monitor wire strips attached to my chest to keep an eye on my heart rate through the night. I had oxygen going through my nostrils for that first evening after surgery. I had 2 or 3 different tubes coming out of my vagina, one of which is a catheter coming out of my urethra, and then the other 2, I believe, were for blood to drip out during, like swelling and going back down and things like that. And then the last thing I had were these 2, like, I don't know, it's hard to describe it. It's like these little, it's like my lower calves were wrapped up like sausages in these bandages that would periodically squeeze and deflate. And I know that's for blood clots and to make sure I didn't get deep vein thrombosis. But I had forgotten that was going to happen, and so I was so confused at first. I was like, what the hell is going on? Because I don't know how to describe what it's like with an epidural. It's weird, like, you can't feel anything that's going on your lower half, but you can still move your lower half to some degree. It's very weird. Like, I can imagine, I don't know what it is with epidurals. They seem to be vagina specific, either for birthing or surgery or, something else. When I posted on Facebook about my epidural, I definitely had a lot of feedback from other women, so that was helpful. It was so weird, though. Like, I couldn't really feel my lower half, but I still could kind of sort of control my lower half. But, half of your ability to control your body is being able to feel what it's doing. So it was weird. So my night after surgery, I was disoriented and dizzy, but I didn't feel any pain. Not really. They had me positioned in a way that I wasn't putting pressure on my surgery site, obviously. So there wasn't an issue there. The catheter was definitely uncomfortable at first. At this point, I've had it in for a week, and so I don't know, it's still uncomfortable, but I'm used to it, I guess. I'm not sure how to put it. But the catheter is definitely the biggest, not painful sensation, but distressing sensation, weird sensation that I felt after surgery. It basically felt like I had a full bladder, but I couldn't pee. And I knew that was going to happen. They had warned me ahead of time, everybody else had warned me ahead of time, that the catheter was what bothers you the most right after surgery. And it was true. My first night, I really could not handle it. It was just weird. It was screwing with me. And so my nurse was nice enough, though. She did everything she could to help me fall asleep. She put on some classical music for me to listen to. because I told her I need something to listen to in order to fall asleep. I can't really fall asleep in dead silence. So I said, can you turn on the TV or put on music or something? And so she turned on, a classical radio station, and so that helped quite a bit. And then she gave me some morphine and some water, and that put me to sleep. The first night, you actually have a nurse who sleeps in the room with you, which I thought was nice, just in case you have any kind of complications or, you get freaked out because you're stoned and in a foreign country or whatever. So she had a little cot that was next to my hospital bed that she slept in between getting my medications ready and checking up on my stats every, however often, every hour or every 2 hours or whatever it was. So I thought that was nice. It was sweet of them, I wasn't off away from a nurse or anything. There was a nurse right there in case I needed anything, so that was nice. Yeah, after breakfast, and by breakfast I mean hot chocolate and juice, which I had to cease all water. I had to cease all liquids 12 hours before surgery, so I was pretty damn thirsty when I woke up from surgery. My lips were pretty dry, and my throat was dry from having, I'm sure I had tubes down my throat, and so my lips were dry, and so was my throat. So I had to wait an hour or two after surgery to drink, and that was uncomfortable. But the nurse did everything she could to make sure I was comfortable, so I can't complain too much. But so the morning I had breakfast and my first sponge bath, and I lost a significant amount of the wires and tubes and things. I lost the heart monitor and the EKG readers, and so all I had left were the 2 or 3 tubes coming out of my lady business, my IV drip, and my leg wraps. So, and I definitely felt a lot better after I woke up. I could tell that the after effects of the anesthesia had worn off, and the catheter was still uncomfortable, but I guess I was starting to get used to it. And so, around noon that first day, they had me walk from the pre- and post-surgery room to my actual, long-term patient room. It wasn't a very long distance, and part of it was just to make sure that my legs were okay after surgery and to get the blood flowing, since I was going to be stuck in bed for 4 more days. So, and it wasn't long at all. It couldn't have been more than 10 or 20 feet, so it was literally just down the hallway with 4 nurses around me to make sure that I didn't fall or anything like that. So it was good. My main nurse, who is the one who took care of me most of the time, I want to make sure I get her name right, Noi. She is so sweet. She's a very sweet lady. Her English is a little broken, but not to the point where we can't communicate at all. It's just limited vocabulary more than anything else. But she kept referring to me as beautiful girl. It was hilarious. It was very sweet. And anytime I would do, even the most remote thing that I was asked to do, like sit up in bed or rotate to the sides for my sponge bath. That was painful at first. She would say, "Good girl, good girl." So she was sweet. I'm really glad that she's on the staff, because she definitely made me feel, comfortable and safe. She was my main nurse who took care of me. Like I said, I thought sponge baths were going to be awkward and uncomfortable, but maybe it's because, all fucked up on pain meds, and you're already, everybody's seen everything. So what's the point in being embarrassed, I guess? It was different, but, you get used to it. Once I was in my hospital room, my average day basically consisted of, there were 8 different times I had to take pills during the day. So before every meal, an hour before every meal, I would have to take 2 antibiotics, and then I had a bunch of pills I have to take after every meal. So, looking at my medications, I've got 2 different kinds of antibiotics, 2 different kinds of painkillers, and a swelling reducer and fever reducer. And that's not including the first couple days after surgery, when I also had the epidural and morphine. So, man, those first couple days out of surgery, I was gone. I slept almost all of that time. I would wake up occasionally and I'd post things to Facebook just to let people know I was alive and well. I couldn't find my phone that they gave me, and so I couldn't call Chris or Dirty Nerdy or my family, and so that was a little distressing, but, I emailed and Facebooked and everything, so everybody knew I was okay. It took me longer than I wanted to let them know I was okay, but, man, that first, 12 hours after surgery, I couldn't function. I was just out of it. And then for the next, 48 hours after that, just sleep. Lots and lots of sleep. I would basically, the nurse would show up with my pills. I would take the pills, and just taking the pills actually took a lot out of me, because I'd have to, move the bed up. I'd have to sit up, and sitting up, was painful, because you're putting pressure on, your lower half with surgery. So I had to sit up and take pills, drink plenty of water to, flush everything through. And then, that was pretty much most of my day. They would bring me something, my meals, so-called, and I would drink my meals, and then for maybe an hour after my meals, I would chit-chat on Facebook and post things and whatever, and then fall back asleep until my next, dosage of pills. So, I mean, I basically took many, many, many naps through the day. I never really had, extended periods of sleep. I still haven't really, just because of the pill regimen that I'm on. Right now, I wake up at 5 to take my first antibiotics, and then 6 is breakfast, and then again I wake up at 11 for my next dose of antibiotics, and then noon is breakfast and pills, and then again it's the same thing. 5 and 6 are antibiotics and dinner and pills, and then I have to wake up again at 11 to take my antibiotics, and then another round of painkillers so that I can sleep. And then I sleep until, breakfast. So it's kind of funny. My sleep schedule is more or less still based around the States, because I could stay awake, after those first couple days. I could stay awake if I had people to talk to on Facebook and things to do online. So I could stay awake for 2 or 3 hours at a time, which was longer than what I was getting, as long as I could chat with people online. So it ended up being that I would fall asleep and wake up around the same time that people in the States did too. So maybe my jet lag won't be as bad when I get back to the States as it was when I first got here, because I'm basically still on U.S. time to some degree. It's almost kind of flipped though, so I don't know, it's weird. I feel like I'm in the States because I'm still chatting with people, but I realize that I'm chatting with people. It's the morning for me, but it's the evening for them. And then in the middle of the day is when I end up sleeping, because that's the middle of the night over there. And then I wake up again for dinner, and then I'll chit-chat for a while until I fall asleep until breakfast. So I think it's kind of funny. I'm still more or less on American time. Oh, what else? So yeah, I was in the hospital for 4 days after surgery, and the third evening was when they took off all the dressings and stuff that were covering my surgery site. So the third evening is when I got to see my lady business, which was awesome. Again, my main nurse who's been taking care of me, Noi, got me a Hello Kitty hand mirror, which is just adorable and hilarious. It's like a little hot pink hand mirror, and I'm actually kind of impressed because you can bend it from the handle, so you can kind of angle it, so it's actually perfect for looking at your viz. I'm sure that wasn't its intended use, but damn if it isn't good for it. So yeah, I have a Hello Kitty mirror for looking at my kitty, which is great. But it was pretty cool, They laid me down first because they had to take all of the dressings and everything off, so that was kind of painful. I know they removed some of the tubes that were draining my site, and then they covered those back up. So basically, my Mons is still covered, because I think that's still healing from the draining tubes and whatnot. But, I got to see everything else. So I've seen my vulva and clitoris and clitoral hood and labia and everything else. I will say my clitoris and my clitoral hood and basically the top half of my vulva already looks great. That's what I was paying attention to when they showed it to me. So that top half already looks awesome. It's still a little swollen and it's still a little tender from surgery, but it still looks awesome. And when they so they're holding the mirror so I can see everything, but then they're also cleaning things up down there and stretching and pushing and checking everything out and making sure everything looks okay. And when they pulled back my hood and poked my clitoris with a Q-tip, I just jumped. It was very, very sensitive, a lot more sensitive than my body was down there before. So it it was almost too sensitive, and I think some of that is because it was still tender from surgery. Because spoiler alert, I've checked it out again since. It's not as tender as it was that first day. It is definitely still very sensitive and amazing, though. So I still don't touch it directly when I'm checking it out, because it's still a little too much for me. So I might be one of those girls where you need to keep my hood on, you know. But I definitely got what I wanted. That is why I chose Dr. Chetowit, and goddamn if that's not what I got. So I can't complain. The lower half of my vulva and exterior and all of that, that's definitely a little more swollen. And I think that makes sense because, you know, I'm lying in bed all day, and so I'm sure blood and everything else kind of drifts down. So it's more swollen, and it's less pretty than my top half is. But my nurses were actually pretty impressed with the results of my surgery. They were like, "Oh, it's cute." So it's nice to have a cute vulva and very sensitive clitoris. It's pretty amazing. I can't tell you how awesome that is. But, you know, looking at the lower half, I can still see, you know, I can still see those sutures and everything, and it's definitely more swollen down there, so. But everything looks good. I can't stretch my labia or anything to check those areas out unless the nurse is here, and I haven't tried to because, you know, I don't want to tear anything. But yeah, it's everything looks good. I'm very impressed, and that's a week after surgery when things are still swollen and shit. So I can only imagine how awesome it's going to be after, when I'm fully healed. Chris is definitely excited, and so am I. Yeah. For those who have asked, because I had a lot of people ask, yes, I brought a vibrator with me, and yes, I placed it on top of my clitoral hood, and that felt pretty amazing. I haven't had an orgasm yet, but considering that I'm still recovering from surgery, I'm not really bothered by that. I was pretty impressed. I can't wait to take this girl out for a spin. I did a little, you know, digging in as to what I can and can't do when I get home. And it turns out that I can receive oral sex as long as it's not too enthusiastic. So, you know, again, it's spreading the labia and things like that is the big concern. So, my pussy will be edible when I get back to the States. Just, you know, it can't be aggressive. But I was having a hard time asking about it, because I think, again, it was a language barrier thing. And so I said, I know you said no sex until 3 months after surgery, but what about oral sex? And they weren't really getting me. And Dirty Nerdy told me to just, you know, go with the, you know, holding your fingers out in a V in front of your face and sticking your tongue out. That did the job. It was embarrassing, but, you know, I needed to know. So, yeah, that is A-okay when I get home, which is good to know, because I'm ready. Oh, man. Well, what else? So after my 4th day in the hospital, is when I was moved to my hotel for bed rest. And I don't know, I was fine. And I'm sure they knew what they were doing. But I kind of wish that I got one more day in the hospital, just because I felt fine at first. And then it just got very disorienting and whatnot when I moved. So, yeah, so let's talk about that. So when I first stood up, I hadn't stood up for like 3 or 4 days. And so I was healed up, and I didn't have all the bandages and shit that made it really hard for me to walk from, my first room to my second room on that first day after surgery. So it was easier to walk, but man, I was dizzy. It was very, very weird. Noi just held my hands and walked me to the car to take me to the hotel when I got there. So that was good. And then my driver did the same thing when we got to the hotel. He just held my hands and walked me all the way from, as far as he could go getting to my hotel room until he put me on the bed, and then put all of my luggage and stuff next to me on the bed, which was good because that was how I was able to function, as I had like all my stuff laid out here on the bed for me. So when it was time to take pills, I just kind of rolled over and got my pills ready and took those. But yeah, that first day here in the hotel room, oh man, everything was exhausting. I had to get up from my bed to empty out my catheter. So I had to get up from my bed and walk to the bathroom, and then drain my catheter bag into the toilet, and then walk back. And just doing that was pretty exhausting. And then the other times I would have to get up is when it was time for my meals. And so I'd have to get up, get my crackers and my liquids, and walk back to the bed. And so what I'd usually do is I would just do both of those at once. So I'd get up, I'd drain my catheter bag, wash my hands, go to the kitchen, get my, food and liquids, and then walk back to the bed. And then by the time I was done with that, I was just like, I had to take 30 minutes to rest before I could actually eat or take my pills. Like it was tough. But again, part of that is intentional, because walking helps, speed up the healing time and whatnot. So that's part of the reason why they move you to your hotel room when they do. It's because if you're stuck in bed any longer, then it's going to do more harm than good, basically. So, yeah, I felt a lot better after that first day. But man, that first day, I was just like, I have no spoons. Everything takes up all of my spoons for the day. It's just crazy. I don't know. I don't think we've talked about spoon theory on Shethinkers before, but it's shorthand basically for people who have chronic illnesses and disabilities and things like that, where it's basically shorthand for energy. But it's a good analogy because it illustrates that you only have so many spoons in a day, and so when you're able-bodied, you don't really have to worry about how you're going to spend those spoons, because you have pretty much unlimited spoons. So you don't have to worry about, am I going to have enough energy to be able to do this at the end of the day if I do this at the beginning of the day. But I definitely had to do some of that, my first day or two coming back to the hotel. I would have to mentally prepare myself to be like, all right, I'm going to have to get out of the bed, and I'm going to have to do my rounds. So I should probably take a nap before that so I have the energy for it. I have a greater appreciation for spoon theory than I did before. Which, it's cool. I'm glad that I already had that language thanks to some of my friends who have chronic illness and disabilities, so it was nice. I actually ended up making some more friends just from using that language on Facebook. I was like, I need more spoons. And some of my friends were like, I didn't know you knew that term. So that was fun. So yeah, now I'm pretty. I have a lot more spoons than I did initially. I guess I'll put it that way. Now I have enough spoons where in the morning I can get up, I can give myself a sponge bath standing up next to the sink. I still can't take a shower. I'll be able to take a shower tomorrow, which I'm pretty stoked about, but man, it's been like a week since I've taken a real shower, and I know I don't smell as good as I could, but whatever. It's only me. I don't give a shit, and neither do my nurses. So, I'm not gross, but I'm not as clean as I'm used to being, so it is what it is, right? What else? Oh yeah, so now I have enough energy in the morning where I can get up, I can, clean myself off, I can brush my hair. Goddamn, word to the wise, if you know you're going to have surgery and be on bed rest for an extended period of time, do, plan ahead for your hair so that you don't have a hot, tangled mess when you're done. Because when I first got back to the hotel, I hadn't brushed my hair at all because it hurt too much to sit up. And so, it was fine on the front half of my hair, that I'm not lying on top of. But the back half of my hair was just like a fucking rat's nest. It was gross. So, my second day in my hotel, I was bound and determined. I was like, I'm going to use all of my spoons if I have to. I'm getting rid of this hot mess back here. It was tough. So yeah, if you know you're going in for surgery, you should, I don't know, wear a snood, braid your hair, keep it in a ponytail and lie it on the back of your pillow, whatever it is that you need to do. Plan ahead for that shit, because I did not, and I regretted it. I think that's the best advice I can give you for preparing for after surgery that they don't already give you, So, yeah. What else? I don't know, I feel like that kind of catches up on everything that's been going on. I will say that I hate pads. They're so uncomfortable. Once they took my, coverings and everything else off from surgery, I have to wear pads because there's still blood coming out of my vagina. Not a lot, but enough that I don't want to soak into the bed and into my panties. So, yeah, and I prepared ahead of time. So, the pads that I brought from home are a hell of a lot nicer than the ones that they gave me from the surgery site. The ones that they gave me from the surgery site are, ridiculous. It's like a fucking diaper. And it's not necessary either. So, the ones that I have are definitely nicer. And, I don't know, I don't know why you would ever use pads if you could use tampons, because it's uncomfortable and it feels like a diaper, and then it's like a pain in the ass trying to get them off and on. So, I don't know. Whatever. I will no longer put up with cis people telling me I don't understand what it's like to bleed out of my snatch, because I do. So, I'm going to be dealing with that for 6 months, actually. So, I'm basically just getting my lifetime's worth of menstruation out all at once. So, yeah, that's fun. I don't know. What else? So, yeah, tomorrow is my my next big milestone, actually. So, right now, I still have 2 more things that need to be removed. I still have my catheter in, which I already said, and then I still have my vagina is still packed. So what that means is there's basically a whole bunch of gauze and shit stuffed into my vagina to make sure that it keeps its shape and whatnot while I'm resting in the, while I'm on bed rest. That basically gives me 10 days after surgery before I have to deal with dilation. So yeah, tomorrow's going to be a big day. I'm actually really excited about it because they're going to unpack my vagina. They're going to remove my catheter. I'm going to be able to eat real food. And yes, I've already looked up what real food I'm going to order. Believe it or not, there's American fast food places here that deliver. Like, normal fast food places, but they deliver here. They have like little motorbikes that they zip through traffic and bring to you. So I haven't decided whether I want to have Kentucky Fried Chicken or McDonald's yet. But those are my 2 options that I'm contemplating. I think I'm going towards Chicken McNuggets. It's like, I can't believe I'm this excited about eating McDonald's, because normally I don't like McDonald's really. But damn if I'm not excited to, 1, eat American food, and 2, eat real food. So, oh man. I also might order a pizza. I haven't decided yet. I think I'm leaning more heavily toward ordering a pizza, just because then I can eat that for all of my meals that day, and it'll be a nice, extra celebration or whatever. So, I don't know, I'm still contemplating what my first real meal is going to be. I'm pretty stoked, though. And not only that, but I'll also be able to take a shower, which I mentioned, and I am so excited about that, you have no idea. My hair isn't knotted anymore, but it's still gross. I mean, it's been a week since I've washed my hair. It's all oily and shit, and I just want to wash it. I actually realized earlier today that this will be the first time I've taken a shower completely nude in like a decade or more. I'm kind of realizing more and more, post surgery, how much my life was affected before surgery. Like, I kind of always looked at it before as, I always kind of looked at it like I had made my peace with my body as much as I could. And that was true. I mean, it's not like I was constantly sitting thinking about how, dysphoria wasn't something that plagued me every day, I guess. I had found my workarounds to reduce my dysphoria as much as possible, and so I really didn't think about it that much in my day-to-day life. But, for example, one of my workarounds is I showered with my panties on. because I didn't want to have to deal with that while I was in the shower, because I like showers, and I wanted to continue to like showers. And so, since high school, I don't know, since right after high school, I've showered with panties on so that I don't have to deal with the dysphoria while showering. And I realized that tomorrow's going to be the first time that I've taken a fully nude shower in a long time. There's going to be a lot of things that I've never done fully nude. I don't have sex fully nude either. Honestly, the only times that I'm completely naked are when I'm changing for those few seconds. And even then, I always stayed tucked before so that I didn't have to deal with, that part of my body. And so, I don't know, now that surgery's done, it's kind of, I guess I'm kind of starting to realize just how many of these workarounds and things that I had in my life. Because I had them to make me comfortable. And so, being comfortable in my life, I didn't really think about them all that often. Outside of man, sex sure would be easier if I didn't have to, if I was post-op. But short of that, I didn't really think about, how my life was affected not having surgery. But now that I have surgery, I'm starting to realize the ways that it was. And I don't know, it's nice. I mean, those little moments actually are a lot cooler than, the sex is going to be awesome, and I'm not saying it won't be, and having the be-all and end-all to get my documents corrected is going to be nice too. But it's also nice that I don't really have to think about my body nearly as much as I used to. I don't know. It's hard to explain to somebody who hasn't had to go through with that. But I've been chatting with a lot of my trans sisters over the last week or so. And I don't know, it's nice, I kind of always self-sabotage myself, or that's my biggest fear, I think, is that I'm going to sabotage myself leading up to big goals. And so it's nice to know that this is done. This is out of the way. No matter what happens in life, you can't take my pussy away from me. So I'm pretty stoked about that. It's like my greatest possession at this point, And it's just nice to have this milestone out of the way. I mean, I haven't owned a car because I'm saving up for surgery. There's all these things that I've held back from in order to save up for surgery and things like that. And it's awesome knowing that I'm done with that part of my life. That part of my life is over. Now I can move on to the next phase of my life, which at this point is getting my bachelor's next semester and getting married next year. And it's nice to know, one milestone down, I've got at least that out of the way. And it's a big thing out of the way, too. But, alright. We'll be, I'll be right back after these commercials, and then I will answer some of your frequently asked questions from my Ask FM profile, and we'll have a dramatic reading of Trolls after this.
Yeah, I'm curious because, I think all of us want to be educated, and Carmen was sort of recoil a little bit when I asked her about her transition, and she said that people who are not educated about this or are familiar with sort of transgenders, they're preoccupied with the genitalia question. And I'm wondering if you think that's true, and if you have the same feelings about that Carmen does.
I do. I was very proud of you for saying that. And I do feel like there's a preoccupation with that, and I think that the preoccupation with transition and with surgery objectifies trans people, and then we don't get to really deal with the real lived experiences. The reality of trans people's lives is that so often we're targets of violence. We experience discrimination disproportionately to the rest of the community. Our unemployment rate is twice the national average. If you're a trans person of color, it's 4 times the national average. The homicide rate in the LGBT community is highest amongst trans women. And when we focus on transition, we don't actually get to talk about those things. There's a young woman named Ilan Nettles who on August 17th was just walking down the street with some friends, minding her own business, and she was catcalled by a couple of guys. And one of them, once they realized she was trans, she was beaten into a coma, and 5 days later she died. This is the reality of so many trans people's lives in this country, trans women of color whose lives are in danger simply for being who they are. And we're looking for justice for Ilan's murder, and we're looking for justice for so many trans people across this country. And by focusing on bodies, we don't focus on the lived realities of that oppression and that discrimination.
What's up? This is Dory.
And the Dirty Nerdy.
As you probably know, Be Secular is a proud sponsor of Secular Shethinkers.
But did you know the owners, Shannon and Mark, are not just sponsors, but also fans?
That's right, and we're fans of theirs too, because Be Secular doesn't just sponsor Shethinkers.
They sponsor lots of podcasts, artists, and organizations that support equality and the separation of church and state.
And we're all about equality and the separation of church and state.
They donate up to 50% of the profits to us as long as you go to besecular.com/shethinkers.
So be you. And be secular. Again, that's besecular.com/shethinkers.
Hey folks, this is your co-host Dirty Nerdy, here to talk to you about Audible.com. Did you know Audible has nearly 200,000 titles for you to choose from? They've got everything. Fiction, bestsellers, periodicals, you name it. And because you're our listener, you get a free 30-day trial and a free audiobook just by going to audibletrial.com/shethinkers. And we get $15 for every listener who signs up. Yay!
Woo!
This week we personally recommend The Purity Myth, How America's Obsession with Virginity is Hurting Young Women. Jessica Valenti argues that the country's intense focus on chastity is damaging to young women. Through in-depth cultural and social analysis, Valenti reveals that powerful messaging on both extremes, ranging from abstinence curriculum to Girls Gone Wild infomercials, place a young woman's worth entirely on her sexuality. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/shethinkers. Again, that's audibletrial.com/shethinkers for any free audiobook of your choice.
Planned Parenthood believes in the fundamental right of each individual throughout the world to manage his or her fertility, regardless of the individual's income, marital status, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, age, national origin, or residence. They believe that respect and value for diversity in all aspects of their organization are essential to well-being. They believe that reproductive self-determination must be voluntary and preserve the individual's right to privacy. They further believe that such self-determination will contribute to an enhancement of the quality of life and strong family relationships. To donate your time or money, or to utilize their services, go to PlannedParenthood.org. Remember, for every dollar you donate to Planned Parenthood, Jesus blesses an aborted fetus.
Hey, I'm back. Alright, so let's take a look at some of these frequently asked questions here. Okay. I'm just gonna scroll to the bottom and work my way up. When will you be able to masturbate for the first time? I did that the second day I was back in my hotel. So, guilty as charged. I couldn't get as aggressive as I would like to be, but damn if it didn't feel good. So, yeah. Very pleased with my clitoris. Thank you very much, Dr. Chetowit. What else? By sex, does your doctor specifically mean vaginal intercourse? When can your pussy be licked? I mentioned that earlier already, so, a month after surgery, I'll be able to have my pussy licked gently, which I'm pretty stoked about. What's the next question? Will your vagina be more fragile than a cis vagina? Nope. It's going to take me like 2 years to be fully, completely healed. Obviously, the first 3 months are when it's the most tender and still healing and everything. But then between that time and 2 years is basically just when my vaginal canal is forming and healing and all of that good stuff. So after 2 years, even my gynecologist won't be able to tell the difference. So that's pretty awesome. I'll have to see what kind of scars I end up with, but from what I've seen, he's actually pretty good about not leaving scars. So, I'll just kind of wait and see. I got a number of dick questions, which I thought was funny. Dirty Nerdy was like, but wait, you shouldn't be getting those anymore. They already know the answer to the dick question. But these dick questions were basically, what did or didn't I do with my body before surgery? I'm just going to answer all of those by saying that whole area of my body was a no-fly zone during sex and masturbation. So I think that can answer any and all questions that people might have. No, I never penetrated anybody. No, I didn't masturbate like a dude does. I don't know. I would think these things would be obvious, but I don't know. Cis people seem to be fascinated by it. Maybe if you don't have a penis, you think it would be cool, or something. I don't know. And, there are some women with penises who are totally down for using them, and more power to them, because, obviously, it takes a lot of resources to get a vagina. So, if you are happy with your body the way it is, then by all means continue to be happy with your body the way it is. I got no qualms. There's no right way to be trans, so do what makes you happy. But that was not what made me happy. Which came first, my femininity or atheism? I don't know, it's kind of a chicken or the egg sort of question. My femininity and my feminism definitely clashed with patriarchal Christianity, and so I think that's what initially pushed me out of the religion. But part of it is also having said religion constantly tell you that people like you, and even though I hadn't fully, even though I wasn't out to myself and I hadn't accepted fully who I was at the time, you still know when people are talking about you, when you're a queer kid growing up. And so the hateful language from the pulpit certainly didn't help draw me into the church. But yeah, I would say my femininity and feminism pushed me out of the church. But then it wasn't until I was, kind of really embraced my atheistic viewpoint that I was able to basically say fuck it and be like, yeah, I'm trans, and trans people get shit on a lot in society, but I only have one life to live, and I don't have that long to live it, so fuck it. I need to come out now. So, I don't know. My femininity and my atheism both helped each other. So, that answers that question. This one, do you ever feel weird for not being one of those kids who realized their true gender when they were like 5, like you weren't trans enough or something? I'm just trying to figure out if anybody other than me has that feel. And then, with this one, I don't know, yes and no. The trans narrative, and capital T, capital N, trans narrative, is kind of goofy and ridiculous. And yes, some people do perfectly fit that trans narrative. And when I say the trans narrative, I mean like the textbook story of what a real trans person is, quote unquote, where from a young age you tell people that you're a girl and they tell you that you're wrong and you've never been comfortable with your body or your gender, and you know what I mean when I say the trans narrative. The same, like, it's a cliche, basically, because, well, yes, some parts of that narrative do ring true for all of us. I don't know that entire narrative necessarily rings true for anybody. Me, for example, I definitely knew from a very young age that I wasn't a boy. I don't know that I could really articulate that I was a girl, let alone that I was trans, but I knew from a young age that I wasn't a boy, and I didn't have the language to say that I was a girl, but I definitely tried as many ways as I could. One of my first memories that I have is my mom explaining to me that I wasn't going to be able to get pregnant, basically, because when my mom was pregnant with my sister, I was like, I'm going to have a baby when I grow up, and my mom corrected me, and so I said, well, there's a clown in my tummy, is the joke in my family, because that was my workaround. I was like, well, if I can't have a baby in my tummy, then there's a clown in my tummy. I remember having that rationale. I don't really understand why I did, but, I was 3.5, whatever. And then, I got in a fight with a daycare worker when she tried to make me use the boys' room. So, yeah, I was trying to express myself from a very young age, but I don't think people, especially back in the 90s and 80s, I don't think people were really aware of trans people, for one, let alone aware that babies and children are trans. I think definitely back then, if you were even aware of trans people, you probably saw them like the caricatures on Jerry Springer, and so you probably didn't think like, oh, my kid could grow up to be that. This kid could potentially be that. I think that's different now. I think now, with gender non-conforming kids, that's probably more readily available in people's minds to be like, I wonder if this kid's going to grow up to be trans, but that wasn't really out there in the 80s and 90s, so I'm not bitter or anything that people weren't picking up on the cues I was giving. I could have just straight up said I'm a girl, but I didn't, because I don't know, the internalized sexism is powerful, and so even at a very young age, I knew that being a girl was something that was bad in society, that you shouldn't want to be a girl if you don't have to be. So, which, it's ridiculous that I did think that way, because my mom was and always will be my hero. She's the person I looked up to, and so, of course, it's ridiculous to think that way, but again, internalized sexism sucks. So, you know, I don't know, you gotta work through shit before you can come out. I also wasn't overly girly growing up. I definitely had girly tendencies, but, you know, I was a tomboy who liked playing house and liked Batman, you know, so there was enough there that if you wanted to believe I was a boy, you could believe I was a boy. If you wanted to believe I was a girl, you could believe that too. So you know, I'm not really, you know, I don't fit the trans narrative. I don't think anybody really fits the trans narrative. I don't think you should feel bad about not fitting the trans narrative either. Okay. What else do we got? This was funny. Someone asked, what the hell does cis mean? Someone who's assigned gender at birth matches, quote unquote, their gender identity. 97% of the world. That's my very short answer of what cis means. So, yeah. What else? I have some random poly questions, but I'm going to stick to surgery-related questions for this one. Oh, this one was weird. Do you weigh less after your surgery? Just curious how many pounds male anatomy weighs. And when I first answered this, I was recovering from surgery, so I said, I have no idea. But now that I'm a bit more conscious, I would say, you know, first of all, it wasn't male anatomy. It was my anatomy, and I'm female, so it was still female anatomy. I don't like when people refer to, you know, genitalia like that, because, I don't know, it ends up shitting on trans people who are comfortable with their birth genitalia. And just because I wasn't comfortable with mine doesn't mean I want to perpetuate that shit. So, yeah. I am female. That was part of my anatomy. So, it's still female anatomy. Just not, you know, what you typically think of. All that being said, though, I mean, really, most of what I had before surgery is still there. It's just different. So, my descended ovaries, as I like to call them, were removed. And I'm sure, you know, other parts were removed and moved around too, but most of what I had before is still there. It's just different. You know, the myth of SRS being like getting your junk chopped off or whatever is just not true, because they need that junk to make your new junk. So, yeah. And in addition to that, like, I know that I have lost weight being on bed rest and everything else, and on a liquid diet. Like, I can tell because even my engagement ring is kind of loose right now, so it's actually a little disconcerting, you know. I know that I'm overweight or whatever, but I'm actually pretty happy with my body, so it'll be good to eat some real food and get it closer to what it normally is, just so, you know. I already have one new thing about my body. I don't need to be, like, 10 or 15 pounds thinner than I was before. But, yeah, I mean, liquid diet for over a week, bed rest for a week. Yeah, I mean, I know I've lost weight because I'm sure I've lost muscle, and because of the liquid diet, so, yeah, I have no idea what the difference in my weight is before and after surgery. Sorry about it. Alright, this next one. You rock. Thanks. You rock too. What are you going to eat first when you get back? Oh man, I can't decide. Right now, the three things that I'm contemplating are my homemade tacos, because I make some damn good tacos, and I don't know, maybe it's because I'm homesick, but I would love to have some Tex-Mex or some barbecue. Like, that's what I think of when I'm like, oh, I get to go home and I can have some, not just American food, but Texan food. So, tacos, and then the other things I've been thinking about are Whataburger, again, Texan. I love Whataburger. I don't eat beef that often, and I don't eat burgers that often. Really, I don't eat fast food that often. I cook most of what I eat for me and Chris. But damn, if I have to pick a fast food place that's my favorite, it's probably Whataburger, because I love their burgers, and their fries are pretty legit too. So really, it's a tough call between those two. I also said pizza, but I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get pizza while I'm here. So I think what I'm probably going to do is pizza's going to be my hooray, I can have real food first meal, and then I don't know, maybe get Whataburger from the airport to home, and then I don't know, maybe have tacos for my next meal after that. I'm also excited to have some of my homemade macaroni and cheese too, because I make a mean baked macaroni and cheese, and I don't know, I'm excited to be able to cook again. I don't know if I'm going to have the energy to cook while I'm here in my hotel room. I'm going to attempt to. I have some stuff so that I can cook, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to pull that off while I'm over here. But I'm pretty excited to be able to cook when I get home, because I like to cook. I love to cook, and I love the food that I cook. So I'm pretty excited to have home-cooked meals again. So yeah. It's funny, and this is still true to some degree. I posted on Facebook at the middle of the week. I was like, everybody expects me to be excited about getting home so I can have sex, but really I'm excited about getting home so I can have some good food. But, I'll have some Thai food while I'm over here. I like Thai food, so I'm excited to get to try some. It'll all have to be delivery. I can't, even after tomorrow, I'm not going to be able to walk much further than, around my hotel complex. So it's not like I can walk down to the street vendor and get something to eat, but I'll make the best of it. Make it work. Okay, what else? Who's with you at the hospital? It's just me and the nurses. But like I said, Noi especially is very sweet and has definitely made me feel at home. And she's very supportive and nurturing. So I can't complain. The nurses are very nice here. So they take care of you. Oh, and I forgot to mention that I do have a daily house call, so to speak. Noi and the head nurse, I forget what her name is, but they come and see me once a day now that I'm here in the hotel. So so it's nice. The nurses are nice. I'm not sure. I can definitely see the appeal of having somebody with you, just because, they can help you get meals ready and things like that, or go to the store for you if you need something. But on the other hand, I've been such a hot mess the last week. I'm kind of glad that I didn't have anybody here who had to see me in that state. I don't know. That's just me. I'm not as comfortable with people that I know seeing me in very vulnerable positions and this last week has been like the definition of a very vulnerable position. I mean, when you've got to be, when you're just like naked in bed, spread-eagled in front of 6 people. I mean, like, that's the very definition of just completely exposed. So, you know, I would definitely appreciate the company, but at the same time, I'm kind of glad that I can do this on my own, and it'll make it all the more exciting when I get back home. So, how much money are you saving by having the procedure abroad? Oh man, so much money. Altogether, this trip costs about 13 or 14 grand. You know, $2,000 for the travel, $1,000 for the hotel, 11 grand. So 14 to 15, actually, 14 to 15 grand for everything to get the surgery done here. Whereas anywhere in the West, you know, Canada, America, whatever, can cost anywhere between like 25 grand and 45 grand. And that's not including travel and room and board. That's just the surgery. And who knows, that might just be the surgery and not the hospital stay and everything else. So, Western medicine is so fucking expensive, it's ridiculous. And not only that, but the Western surgeons are still using older surgical methods that don't give you the very sensitive clitoris that I am currently enjoying. So, I feel like it was like a non-choice for me. It's win-win both ways. The only thing that sucks is you're in a foreign country and you're, you know, halfway across the world from your loved ones, but, you know, you're only going to be halfway across the world from your loved ones and in a foreign country for a month, and you're going to save a shit ton of money and have a nicer vagina when you get back. So I think it's a no-brainer kind of choice. And then this last one I thought was funny. Are you watching the World Cup? Is it a big deal in Thailand? Actually, the big news here is that the Thai government or royalty, I'm not sure, I'm kind of fuzzy on that, but basically the powers that be in Thailand have made it so that all the games are available to watch for free here. I guess originally they were like pay-per-view, but now they're available so that anybody with a TV can see all of the games for free. And so I imagine it's a big deal. I've also noticed people, you know, driving from the hotel and the hospital and everything. I've noticed people placing bets, and I'm pretty sure it's on the World Cup. So, yeah, I'm sure it's a big deal here. Sports aren't really my thing, and soccer especially isn't really my thing. And I know that's like, you know, stupid American of me or whatever, but I don't know, I can't get into soccer. And I acknowledge that it's even weirder because I can get into hockey, and hockey and soccer have so many similarities that you would think it would carry over for me. Like, hockey is one of the only sports that I do enjoy watching. But I can't get into soccer. I just, you know, maybe if I was with, like, a crowd of people watching the World Cup, that might be more exciting and something I could get into, but I don't know. Just hasn't really ever done anything for me, so more power to you if you're having a good time, though. So yeah, those are my questions I was asked this week. Okay, so now it's time for Masterpiece Troll Theater. Oh, wait, I got some music for this. Yeah, fucking classy up in here. Okay, so this first Troll Theater is a dramatic reading of Eddie McCann and the problems that he has with the word gay. This is in response to a mutual friend of mine and Dirty Nerdy's who posted up an article about reparative therapy. And I'm going to do my best to capture the grammatical and spelling essence of these trolls. So, Eddie McCann. I don't get it. Look up the definition of gay, look at the meaning of it, and see if you think it means homosexuality, because I don't think it really does, because they have the same problem as a straight person, so how can I really be gay? What are you talking about? The definition of gay, or that they have the same problems as a straight person? Or that you're gay? He means to be carefree. How are they carefree? Eddie, you know we're in the 21st century, right? Not the 19th century? To put it simply, the definition of gay means carefree. How are they any carefree than anyone else? The definition of straight is also seriousness, respectability, and conventionality. Does that mean it's not also used as a reference for heterosexuality? Basically, it's another word in the English language that they've messed up and created new definitions for it. Here I thought English was a living language, that over time terms change. Like I said, straight used to mean someone who was serious, respectable, and conventional. Now it also represents being heterosexual. You really going to try and sell me that it's all a secret conspiracy theory to change the language? Okay, you got me on that one. Give me a minute and I'll look up straight definition. Here's the link. To move forward without it bends or curves, and the funny thing is the way they use it in a sentence is he looks straight at her. What? Back in the 14th century, if you'll check the dates, straight started meaning heterosexual back in the 1940s. In 1920, it meant giving up the criminal lifestyle. Point is that wording changes over time to mean different things. Like being gay used to represent happy, jolly, and in certain contexts still means that, but common use, it means a homosexual man. And it's slowly changing to mean bad, inferior, or undesirable. Point is, Eddie, there's no massive gay agenda conspiracy theory on the English language like you're alluding to with your comments. Terms change all the time for all types of words. Sorry, nobody's buying that bullshit. Like my grandma used to say, go to bed and have sweet dreams when you wake up and you'll be happy and gay. All this other bullshit. I love the comment, I was born this way. Were you born out of a man's ass? No. Sorry, Eddie, still no conspiracies, even when you're trying to change the point. A new person enters the thread. This is terrible. Thread derailed at first post. At Nicholas. Thread hijacked at the point where the word gay was allegedly hijacked by the gays. At this point, I'm thinking of posting more LGBT articles just to see how Eddie will try to explain the gay agenda in a way that's so bad it's hilarious. Okay, so now Dirty Nerdy has entered the scene. Julio, I support you posting more gay stuff in order to troll this bigot. Need any help with that? I'm all yours. Also, that guy realizes that most of the words he used on this very post used to mean different things, right? His speech would be incomprehensible if he traveled back in time 200 or 300 years. Hey buddy, go read Beowulf and Canterbury Tales, and then tell me changing language was started by evil gays. Eddie seems to think that language changing is wrong, so I helpfully translated part of his first comment into Old English for him. I can't even read that. Eddie, if you speak right in anything other than this, then we all know you're just a lying, hypocritical bigot. Timothy says, thanks for making transparent the plans of a party that seems like more of a part of our history than any other. I think our political process must change before it's too late. And now Eddie has returned. Not a hypocrite, I just speak what I feel and I speak what I know, thank you, and that goes with any subject you can come up with. By the way, it takes a hypocrite, you know, a hypocrite in the lying part. Where did I lie once in any of my statements? I almost bet that you're so ignorant that you think Ebonics really your fucking language. Eddie, if you're mad that homosexuals changed the definition of gay, and yet you speak modern English instead of Old English, then you're an ignorant hypocrite. You're lying, because if you don't speak in Old English and speak in modern English, but still get pissed that the meaning of one word changed, then you're hiding behind bullshit to express your obvious bigotry. And then Dirty Nerdy is quoting, I almost bet that you're so ignorant that you think Ebonics really your fucking language. I usually try not to go there these days, but for somebody who's so bent out of shape about the state of the English language, you are really terrible at creating a full sentence. Really, what does the quoted statement from you even mean? That I think African American vernacular English is a language? That I use African American vernacular English as my language? What? Also, I know Ebonics is an old, outdated term now, but you could at least try to spell it correctly if you're going to be shitting all over other people's use of the English language. At least now we know you're probably racist as well as homo-antagonistic. And then quoting the hypocrite line of his, aka, I'm a hateful, privileged bigot who thinks I'm entitled to spew bullshit at everybody, regardless of whether or not my opinion makes sense or is stated using comprehensive grammar and syntax. Also, blacks can't speak English because Ebonics. So there we go. Alright, this next piece of troll theater, I think it's pretty long. I think I'm just going to read this one quote that's just so shake my fucking head worthy. Spencer Howard. Given that body weight is determined by the laws of thermodynamics, I'm not convinced that being skinny is privileged. Even as a certified fat ass myself, gender inequality is dramatically more important than body shaming. There are only a handful of conditions that prevent people from being a healthy weight. Oh, where to start? Alright, so... Oh, wait. Did Dirty Nerdy send me more? Hang on. Oh, okay. This is Eddie responding back. Apparently he kept responding to Dirty Nerdy. Okay, thank you very much. For what? Smacking you down so hard with actual knowledge about English history and language that you're forced to show your true colors and be sexually aggressive? You're welcome, I guess. I don't think I've been this amused by the sad flails of a bigot in a long time. Well, I'm glad you're happy, kiss kiss. No, do not make kisses at me. Don't reference sexual acts toward me in any way, you disgusting fucking creepy-ass bigot. Oh, I love you, Dirty Nerdy. Alright, and now let's see what Dirty Nerdy had to say in response to this last fucking troll. This is nice. It's like Dirty Nerdy's here, even if she can't be here. I can at least read her words to you, because you know that she's still fighting the trolls and justifiably raging. Dirty Nerdy's response. Body shaming contributes to mental illnesses that disproportionately affect women, and it also contributes to attitudes about women's appearances that make it more difficult for them to succeed in the workplace. But tell us more about how much you know about gender inequality. I'm sure you're quite knowledgeable. And then, okay, so Dirty Nerdy's just screenshot this asshole and posted it. So I'm just going to read all of us shitting on it. The majority of body shaming is directed at women. This is not random. And it gets ramped up whenever women get rights. Like when dieting ads started coming out during the suffrage movement. Like I say, start riots, not diets. I'm so glad we have knowledgeable men like Spencer here to tell us women what's really important. Also, laws of thermodynamics? Lol. What the fuck do the laws of thermodynamics have to do with not being shitty to fat people? Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that had to do with anything. Classic mansplaining. Tell a woman all about something he doesn't understand one bit. Let me explain to you what ways you're oppressed and what ways you're not. I should know. I'm a man, and therefore my manly opinions are always valuable. Thin privilege means not having to deal with the dumb assumptions he's making in that passage, such as his assertion that only a handful of conditions are preventing heavier people from being thin, i.e., if they don't deal with the handful of conditions, then it's their fault and an example of laziness. And who says all heavier people want or need to be thin? And I guess it's just a-okay to hate on those fat people who do have the right conditions to justify their bodies. Collateral damage in the war on obesity. I fight for gender equality. All of you women here don't know what that's about or what's important. Let me tell you what's important. And then I said, I want to keep making fun of trolls with you, but I have to go record the show. So, I hope you enjoyed our episode of Troll Theater. I hope you had all of your questions answered and are now up to speed on what my surgery's been like leading up to it, and yeah, so I love you guys. Keep talking to me on Facebook. Seriously, it's keeping me sane. Being on social media while watching, TV and movies and whatever is pretty much all I can do while I'm stuck in bed. So keep chatting with me on Facebook. Keep sending me questions on Ask FM. Keep doing what you're doing. Before you know it, I'll be back in the States, and I'll just say, me and Dirty Nerdy have some pretty exciting stuff planned for the end of our hiatus. So, I hope you're ready. I know we're getting ready. We're very excited about it, so I can't wait for Shethinkers to come back in full force from our summer vacation. Love you guys. Talk to you again in a week. Bye. Oh, and even though, we're in hiatus, I still got you guys a new counter-argument, so hope you enjoy.
And I want to admit here, and we are about at a time, I have a mission today. I want to say, I love my wife. This October, we will celebrate our 20th wedding anniversary. Thank you, Angela, for putting up with me and putting up with the battle for marriage and life. And I want to close with this, with a message to every man in America, every man in this crowd, every husband in America. Your children need you. Your woman, your wife, she needs you. It's time that you become a real man and stand up for those who need you. Love your family, love your wife, love your children, because they desperately need you. They're desperately looking for a husband. They're desperately looking for a father. Be a real man of God, because this is about you. Marriage is about you and your wife and your children. Thank you, and God bless you for all your efforts.
Well, they're not real men, mate. They're not tough. They're not tough. They fuck men. What a straight guys want. I want a woman. Soft. Sleek. Feminine. What do you want, Dave? I want to fuck a bloke. I want a big, strong bloke to fuck me in the ass. Or is that a bit tough for you and your pussy-loving mates?
Like the say